All right, we got more people coming in. That's good. That's good. Okay, so for those who just came in, as I say, we are trying this word cloud poll. Join us on slido.com. You can put in the number 829688. You will see this poll. The poll was to actually describe your ideal vacation with one emoji, just for fun, to get everyone's attention. If you can't put emoji, it's okay. Just put a country that you would like to go and visit. That is fine. Oh, someone goes scuba diving also. Wow. Okay, I saw one weird emoji. What's that? I don't know what is that. Next to the camping trip, that what is that emoji? A snowman, is it? Does anybody know? I saw a camping trip, right? Then next on the right on the camping trip, there's this emoji which I don't know what is that.
Is it paragliding?
I'm not sure. It's so small. I can't see. Sorry, I have no idea.
Snowboarding?
Sorry,
No,
I don't know. Maybe
not
I
sure what
don't
that
know. That's
is.
like the person who put that. Can you like unmute yourself and tell us what is that? It's a very interesting emoji. I don't really get to see why. It's because maybe it's too small. Huh? Want to go Mars? You must be joking, right? Okay. Yeah, I think there's still some people coming in. Okay. Arpit, hi. Good to see you. We have about 20 people now, which is good. Oh, there's more people. So sorry. Hello, hello for all those people who have just joined us.
Hello, sir.
Please, hi. Join us on Slido. We are doing this word cloud poll. It's actually to describe your ideal vacation using one emoji. Go for a road trip, that's nice. And then you can actually put in a text or put in an emoji to tell me where you want to go. Okay. Okay. So the one that we talked about is not like I don't know, snow gliding or what. Can that person say something? I don't know. If you know who you are, maybe you unmute yourself and tell me what is that emoji and where do you want to go.
Is it a soft word on the snow?
Yeah, yeah. Is that soft?
Yeah, yeah. Try to guess it. It's a snowboarding.
Or snowboarding, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's very small. I can't see. I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
Still small.
Yeah,
I know.
it's also you want to go snowboarding. Wow, that's cool. You know how to
Yep.
snowboard?
Yep.
Oh, cool, cool. That's nice. That's nice. So snowboarding and skiing. Okay. Wow, camping trip so big. Okay,
You should try sometimes. It's fun.
it's fun. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I will find a time to go Switzerland. I went to Switzerland once and I didn't dare to try the snowboarding or skating. So yeah, I'm not the adventurous type. I think I'm scared of falling will be a bit more challenging for me.
It's fun to fall in snow.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so we answer the reason what is that emoji. So camping trip and that tree is voted highly cool. Okay. Let me see. There's still two other people that comes in. Okay, so last 2 minutes. Hi everyone who have just joined. You may want to join us on Slido. And put in your Slido and put in a word cloud poll. The number is on the screen. And then you can use an emoji to describe your ideal vacation using one emoji or tell us where do you actually want to go. Okay, just for fun. All right. Okay. I guess it's good to start. Okay. So welcome everybody. We still people coming. So welcome everybody to our Singapore admin user group in April. We missed one in Feb because there was a Chinese New Year break, and so we couldn't find anyone to actually speak for us. So that was why there was a break in between. Yeah. So let me go into my slides. I hope you all can see. If it's too small, please do let me know. I think you should. I don't want to go full screen because if I go full screen, there's some jam that is being done. So it's okay.
We,
So
we aren't we aren't
sorry,
seeing your screen.
Ken?
Sorry.
All right, sure. Thanks, George. Okay, so our agenda, we kick off and
Oh,
we.
sorry, Desmond. You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oops, sorry. Give me a while. I'm not sharing my screen. Wait. Oops, sorry. Yes, can you all see now?
No,
No,
not yet.
okay. Can?
Not yet.
Okay, so
There it is. Yeah. Good.
okay, so sorry if I didn't share my screen for people who wanted to try the emoji. It's still here. For those who have missed the thing, is it's nice to just continue. I'll leave the emoji poll on, so if you want to take a look again, we'll put it here. Okay. So thank you for attending our Singapore admin user group. So let's go through the agenda. Today we will do a kickoff. We will introduce a thing, and then we have George, that is our Salesforce program architect, and he will talk about his OmniStudio 101. I'll let him introduce on his end. Okay, and then we'll have a quiz for our prize. Okay, let me check. There are a few more people coming in. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So, okay. So for those who have really just joined us, we have this cloud poll that we have done on the poll, the results that are there. And if you want to come in and just give us a good impression of where do you want to go, by all means. Okay. Sorry, I need to toggle the screen because I only have one screen, so I'm doing it uh, and sharing at the same time. Okay, so do and okay, so let me introduce myself. Okay, so my name is Desmond. I'm actually working with Singapore Institute of Management, which is SIM in short in Singapore. I have so I'm basically the business analyst there. That is doing all the um, Salesforce requirements, Salesforce admin, Salesforce developers, and we actually work with vendors as well to actually create the application that is done on Salesforce. So we are buying a few clouds. We just bought Tableau, we just bought Marketing Cloud, and we are using Sales Cloud and all stuff. So that's me. One of my co-leader, Angie, today she can't make it. So basically she's from Convergent. She's one of the analysts and the requirements gathering is from there as well. So she pinged me today, and she says she has other things to attend to, so she couldn't attend. But she will definitely be back in our next user group meeting itself. Okay. So yes, let's go to the next slide. So just to let everyone know that we are not the only I'm not the only user group in Singapore itself. You can look, there are actually seven other community user groups that you can keep a lookout and join them. First one is the Salesforce admin group, which is led by Johan and Jason. They are focusing on all the admins group itself. Okay, so what's the difference between me and him? Actually, we don't really differentiate in that manner. Because in a way, his is actually doing more in the generic portion of what Salesforce can actually do. He do all the he does even permission. The last session that he had, he did with one of the trainers or the vendors that was talking about access and control. Okay, so let me just join them. Okay, so sorry for toggling. And Singapore Developer Group, I think for all developers, you may join Manish. He's also one of our MVPs. Look out for his sessions as well. He brings about quite a lot of all the codings and the lines that are there. If you want to understand that more, then please you may join that group as well. I think I'm not sure whether he's having a group recently. Okay, so we also have the Marketing Cloud group, whereby we have marketeers that are there. Uh, Becky is one of the users inside. I'm not sure who is the leader, but I know that Becky is actually one. If Becky is here, please shout out if you are one of them. Okay, Pardot is led by Prakash, Pachandra, if I'm not wrong. He's very active. He's always doing a lot of sessions. If you are following him on LinkedIn, you can doing basically all the. He's one of the Salesforce champions marketing with a vendor called a Pitico or something, a Pitiki. Okay, he's one of the engineers that are there. Okay, we also have the Singapore non-profit, whereby all the non-profits are there as a discussion. I actually, in actual fact, SIM is a non-profit company, so I'm actually one of the users there as well. Their sessions are more in the afternoon, around 3 to 4. Okay, so Salesforce user group itself, which is a more general ones, that is what Johan is actually doing. Sorry, I'm leading the admin group, is leading the user group. So his user group one is the one that has a more generic portion where he speaks to a wide range of all the different products that is there. And because I'm focusing on the admin side, he may also talk about the developers. You get some help from the snippets from there. So he's more general. We have one woman in tech. I'm not too sure whether it's still active or not. But yes, we do have this woman in tech group. So we totally have 7 user groups right now in Singapore. Okay, so do join them when they have sessions. Okay, so in short, I like to go for the next meetup easier. We will have probably one in June. I'm finding out if you have anyone that you want to speak, you can just ping me. I'll provide my emails, or if you want to give me a chat on the email that you want to present something, do let me know as well, so that I can arrange with you, and then we can see what we can actually talk about as well. Okay, so if you do want to have something that passionate to share, just let me know. As I said, my group is more on the admin side. So if you are talking about coding and snippets and all that stuff, I will probably, maybe you can look for the user group or the developer group for Manish. Okay. Okay. So for our main event for the day, okay. So Georgie, as I said, he's going to do an introduction to OmniStudio 101. He would present his slides that are there. Georgie is with Salesforce. He has like 35 certs, if I'm not wrong, and he just recently got a CTA. That's, I think, I will clap him. A very hard to achieve
Thank you.
goal, George. I will give you my hats off to take the CTA exam, but congrats for doing that as well. Okay, so I'll hand this time to George. George, over to you.
Yes, so let me share.
Okay, so just because we have quite a lot of people here, if you have any questions to ask George, you can post it in the chat. We will answer it later. George, is that fine when we have our time for
Yeah,
Q&A? Yeah.
that works for me. And how much time do I have?
You have at least an hour, as I said. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about the time. Just go ahead and keep it slow so that everyone can understand the discussion and what you're presenting as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so can you see my screen? Hear me okay?
Yes,
Awesome.
George. We can see your screen.
Cool. Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Georgi Savelyev. Today I'll be talking to you about OmniStudio 101, basically an intro session. I am a Salesforce employee, so I have to show you this slide. Make your purchasing decisions based on what's in the product today, not based on what's on the roadmap. Okay, so to introduce myself in a bit more detail, here's me again, Georgi Savelyev. It's a tricky name, not Georgie, but Georgi. If you can't get it, no worries. I'm based in Singapore. I've been with Salesforce Industries and formerly Velocity. I joined through the acquisition for about 4.5 years. I've been in the Salesforce world for more than 7 years. I finished my CTA in December last year. I started my Salesforce journey at a customer, moved to an SI, then joined an ISV, Velocity, and now I'm at Salesforce. So my specialty is CPQ and Communications Cloud. I've been involved in 8 Communication Cloud implementations. I spend a lot of time, on self-learning and all of that. I love getting certified and learning about new products and stuff. So 35 certificates, and then beyond work and that sort of thing. I'm also very active in the community. So I started the Benelux CTA study group. I was previously based in Amsterdam, so I started a study group. Here's one of our first in-person meetings back like 2 or 3 years ago. We had Carl Brundage, awesome CTA based in the US, join us remotely. And I'm originally from Russia. I started the Moscow, Russia developer user group, and we had our first meeting 2 years ago here, pre-COVID time, like right before COVID hit. So yeah, that's about me. And this picture here is me after I passed my CTA. I decided to print it out as like a 1 meter poster and take a ridiculous picture and post that on LinkedIn. It was very popular. Okay. Anyway, so let's talk about the agenda. Today we'll be going over an introduction to Industry Cloud and OmniStudio. I think you'll understand in a moment why we're talking about Industry Cloud. I'll talk about in OmniStudio each of the modules that are involved, and then we'll do a demo. I'll show you a Flex card, I'll show you an OmniScript, and then depending on how much time we have, we'll build a really simple OmniScript together so you can see how that works. Then I'll share some resources in case you want to learn more, get certified. We'll have a few minutes for Q&A, and then most importantly, we'll be giving away 5 certificate vouchers. Like Desmond said, pay attention. The vouchers will be based on questions that will be based on the content here. So if you're paying attention, you have a good chance to win a voucher. You could even get, OmniStudio certified. So yeah. And basically the goal is after this session, you should have like a basic understanding of what is OmniStudio and, be able to understand how to configure a basic OmniScript. Okay, so let me give some context on Industry Cloud and OmniStudio. So I joined Velocity about 4.5 years ago, and Velocity was acquired by Salesforce about 2 years ago. And what was formerly Velocity is now Salesforce Industries. And one piece of that is OmniStudio. So here in blue, what I have highlighted are the different industries that are part of formerly Velocity. And then here are all of the industry clouds. So Desmond, you mentioned that you work in a nonprofit, like that would typically fall under nonprofit cloud. Maybe if you were working in government, that could be government cloud. Consumer goods could be something like Lazada where you're purchasing things like that. So these are basically, Salesforce solutions built for a specific industry. And these are the ones covered by what was formerly Velocity. So it's public sector, energy, media, communications, health, and financial services. So today we'll be talking about OmniStudio, and OmniStudio is available in all of the former Velocity clouds, which are these 6. And it's also available as an add-on for manufacturing cloud here. This may change in the future, I'm not sure, but yes, stay tuned for updates there. But as of today, these are the clouds where it's available. It's not currently available for customers outside of these clouds. So if you're just using Sales or Service Cloud and not one of these, it's not available today. Okay, so if we take an example of one of these industry clouds, Communications Cloud, which is what I primarily work on, this is all of the pieces of Communications Cloud. And I won't go through each of these because it would probably take 5-10 minutes to talk through it. But today we'll be focusing on specifically this area, the industry interaction platform, which is also called OmniStudio. So it encompasses OmniScript, FlexCard, Data Raptors, integration procedures, and Industry DX. There's a lot of other stuff involved though. There's enterprise product catalog, configure price quote, order management, a lot of other things. If you're interested in these things, ping me on LinkedIn. I can shoot you some links to learn more. But basically, what I'm trying to show here is Industry Cloud is a lot more than OmniStudio, but OmniStudio is an important part of it. So let's talk about OmniStudio. So we understand there's Industry Cloud, OmniStudio is a part of it. What exactly is OmniStudio? If you're familiar with flows in Salesforce, screen flows are how you can build a guided process. So, maybe a process that you walk a sales agent through to help sell something to a customer, or maybe like a support process where you help a support agent in the call center, troubleshoot some issue with a customer. OmniStudio is taking that idea and taking it to the next level. So the idea is that this is an easy way to create these guided processes to create your customer experiences with no or very little code, to be able to connect to all of your systems and to do this quickly. And OmniStudio consists of quite a few modules. So we'll talk about each of these shortly, but basically there's OmniScripts, Flex Cards, Data Raptors, Integration Procedures, Interaction Console, OmniAnalytics, IDX Workbench, and Project Explorer. So all of these things are what is OmniStudio. So let's go through them one by one. Okay, and before we go through those modules, maybe let me give you an example of how this could look. So OmniStudio really helps you do this piece of it. So let's say, let's say that we're a telco company in Singapore. We have Singtel, M1, those kind of companies. And let's say a customer wants to purchase internet service from one of these companies. Maybe the first step is we would check, are you eligible for internet based on your location? Then if yes, we want to show them a list of all of the products that, all of the different internet offers that we sell. Then we need to gather the customer's personal and billing information to start billing them. Then we need to check their credit to see if they're eligible to actually, get the service and pay for it and all of that. And then finally, we need to send a technician out to your apartment to actually install the internet and turn it on for you. So we kind of have 5 steps in this process. And as part of this process, we're calling a lot of different systems. So maybe Matrix is handling the billing. Our customer and account information is in Salesforce itself. For availability, we have some kind of third-party availability software that we need to call. For credit check, we go to Experian. For actual field service, we do that via ServiceMax. So the idea of OmniStudio is you can have this kind of guided process. You walk the user through a series of steps. You integrate to a lot of different systems. It could be Salesforce. It could be a different system. And it does the end-to-end interaction. And then this could be for a customer. The customer themselves could be doing this process. This could be an agent doing it on behalf of the customer in a store or a call center or something like that. So that's the general idea of OmniStudio. So let's go through the different modules piece by piece. So to start off, we have OmniScript. This is the guided process. So this would map to those 5 steps that we saw in that previous diagram. The idea of this is that you can create customer interactions, and a lot of it is without code. So you can create, different guided flow with different steps in it. Each step can have different logic behind it. And then this integrates to all of the other OmniStudio components. Like there's native integration with Data Raptor, integration procedures. You can call integrations via REST SOAP. You can call Apex, all of that good stuff. And then the designer is very visual. So you drag and drop different components, modify them to make them bigger, smaller, that sort of thing. It's pretty accessible for someone with an admin background that isn't comfortable with code. But if you do want to extend it, you can also write your own custom LWCs and use that inside of your OmniScript as well. And then one really cool thing that's available is something called OmniOut. This is how you can take a OmniScript that you built within Salesforce, but then deploy it on some kind of third-party web server. So let's say that your customer has their web server not based on Experience Cloud or Community, but based on something else like Adobe Experience Manager. You can take that OmniScript that you built in Salesforce, deploy it into Adobe Experience Manager, and then the customer can run through the OmniScript, even though the customer isn't directly logging into Salesforce. So that's something really cool that is not available in ScreenFlows, for example. Next, we have Flex Cards. Flex Cards, you can think of them as a way to kind of drag and drop and declaratively build UIs. So we can see a screenshot here where this is some kind of asset viewer where we can see the asset, we can see a picture of it, and then pull in different information about that asset, like what product is it, what color is it, what size, that sort of thing. So again, this is very visual. It should be accessible for an admin to drag and drop and build it like that. There are different elements that you can use. You can take your Flex card and put it inside of an OmniScript as well. So maybe as part of an OmniScript, we wanted to select some assets or like view this asset. We can build this Flex card and then put it inside of our OmniScript to use it. And then the data that this flex card will be showing, so like here we're showing some information about an asset record in Salesforce. The data source could be a data raptor, it could be an integration procedure, Apex, all of that stuff. So the data that the flex card is showing could be from Salesforce, it could be outside of Salesforce, or it could actually be a mixture of both. And then ultimately these flex cards generate a LWC, and then you can put that LWC basically anywhere in Salesforce inside of a page layout. You can expose it in the Salesforce mobile app, all of that good stuff. Next, we have data raptors and integration procedures. So data raptors are a way of, you can think of them as the equivalent of SOQL or DML for those of you with a Apex background. In other words, this is a way of pulling data out of Salesforce, loading data into Salesforce, or transforming the data. And then integration procedures are a way of orchestrating different processes. So an integration procedure itself could have a few data raptors in it to fetch some data from Salesforce, then do a REST call out to another system like your billing system, then do a REST call out to some other system. You can chain together different processes like that. And again, this is all declarative. So you just drag and drop this in the integration designer UI itself. And then if you need to put code into it, it also supports Apex. So you can have your integration procedure call Apex, or in reverse, from Apex, you can call an integration procedure. So you can think of this as kind of a back-end thing. It's kind of like a simple version of Apex that's declarative. We have the interaction console. So this is from the sales or service console. You can expose, our different flex cards. Here we can see some flex cards related to the assets. Maybe we have some actions on there. You click on the action to launch an OmniScript that then guides you through a guided process. So you can think of this as the experience for the user related to a customer. We have Omni Analytics. So this is data that's generated by your OmniScripts and integration procedures and so on that you can then do analytics based on. So let's say our OmniScript is a guided selling process. First, like to take that previous example where we're selling internet, that is a 5-step process. The first step is to check if the internet is available. Then you check, which offer does the customer want to buy. Then you check the credit and so on. Omni Analytics would let you see, okay, 100% of people go to that first step. Maybe 80% of people go to the second step. And then, I don't know, maybe in the end, only 5% of customers actually go through the whole process. So you'll be able to get insights like, when are customers dropping out of the process? What is potentially having performance problems, that sort of thing. So kind of reporting based on all of the OmniStudio stuff. Then we have IDX Workbench. So in Salesforce world, we can deploy things like a flow or an Apex class or a custom field via a change set. We can also do it via SFDX, things like that. In OmniStudio and Velocity World, we have something called IDX Workbench, which will let you extract for example, OmniScript. It knows that this OmniScript contains this integration procedure, and then that contains this data raptor, so it understands how everything is connected. You can extract it, check it into your code repository, and then deploy it to another environment, deploy it to production, that sort of thing. You can also compare 2 different versions of OmniScripts. You can do some performance profiling, things like that. So you can think of this as kind of a way of deploying all of the OmniStudio components plus just a general DevOps tool. And we have Project Explorer. So, as you're building these different components, you want to know, okay, what are all of the 5 things that I did to build out this user story? It involves, 2 OmniScripts, 1 integration procedure, 1 data raptor. This will help you collect all of that into what's called a project, and then you can deploy that project so you don't have to, keep a separate Excel tracker or track it manually in Jira of what are the different components that are involved. And then this is how the orchestration can happen between OmniScript and integration procedures. So let's say the customer has an AEM-based web server. We deploy the OmniScript on that. The OmniScript will be running actually within Salesforce, and then all of the calls to different systems will happen via integration procedures. And you may have MuleSoft here in the middle where the integrations are going through MuleSoft as well, instead of talking directly point to point to the different systems. So basically, OmniStudio allows you to do this kind of complexity of different integrations to a lot of different systems and to do it with very little or no code. And then a question that always comes up is, I've mentioned a few times, screen flows can do this, OmniScript can do this. What is the difference between them? What is similar between them? So maybe let's talk about what is similar between them first. So both of the tools here allow you to do guided interactions. In a screen flow, we can have a series of steps. In OmniScript, we can do the same thing. Both of them have branching logic. So you can have different conditions where if this, do this, if that, do that. In both cases, we can read and write data from Salesforce. In both cases, we can call Apex, embed different custom LWCs, embed them in third-party web pages. They're both responsive, so we can use them on a desktop, on a laptop, on a mobile device, and they both have debuggers. So there's a lot in common. Let's talk about the differences. So in OmniScript, we have a very drag and drop friendly UI designer where you can see kind of how the OmniScript is looking as you're developing this. In flows, it's a bit of a different experience where you really need to preview the flow to have a good feeling of how it will function and look. There's also the ability to use custom style sheets. So, if you really want to match your customer's look and feel, you can achieve that via custom style sheets. There's support for dynamic screen refreshes and so on. So on the same screen, you can modify one field and see another field getting updated or refreshed or that sort of thing. There's out-of-box integration with Google Analytics, and it enables low-code API consumption. So you can build a integration to another system without code or with very little code. On the ScreenFlow side, the UI is built to be more process-centric. So this would look like, a process diagram that you might build in a workshop. The components are a little bit easier to configure for an admin from the very first time, but in exchange for that, there's a bit less flexibility. You have advanced looping and branching. There are more third-party components available via AppExchange or other places. And then if you're ISV, you can package flows as part of your managed package. So, there are a lot of differences, a lot of similarities. In my projects, I've used OmniScript pretty much exclusively for the last 4 years. And basically, we don't use screen flows on my projects because for the developers and admins, it's easier for them to learn one tool and stick to it. But yeah, it just depends on what you're doing on your project. All right, so hope that was enough theory for you. You got kind of an understanding of what's available. Let's do a quick demo and
Georgie, can we, before that, I think there were some questions asked before you jump to the demo. Can we take a look at that?
Yes. Okay, so Prakash, we can create this guided customer purchase experience in B2C Commerce Cloud as well. Why is Salesforce having 2 products available for the same purpose? Okay, so B2C Commerce Cloud is primarily meant for customer self-service. So, if your customers are going to a website and then purchasing, I don't know, phones or game consoles or I don't know what else, clothes, shoes, things like that, all of that is what B2C Commerce Cloud is meant for. But what if your agents that are working in the stores or working in the call center need to do some kind of guided process? Like, I don't know, Desmond's company, for example, is a nonprofit. Maybe they have customers calling them and say, hey, I donated $1,000. I need a receipt for this donation. Can you help me with that? The guided process could be, a customer calls in, you ask them to verify their information by giving their, I don't know, NRIC. then you select which document you want to generate, then you generate, then you email it to them. It's like a series of steps that you need to follow, and it's not the customer themselves doing it. It's not actually related to sales. It's more support related. So I hope that gives some clarity. Basically, B2C Commerce Cloud is very focused on like customer self-service sales, whereas OmniScript can do that and other things. It could help your support agents, help your sales agents, other things.
Okay, sounds good. How about the
okay.
other one?
Yeah, so there was another question. What's the difference between data raptors and integration procedures? I'll show you this in the demo, but just very briefly, data raptors are how we can extract or load data from or to Salesforce. Integration procedures can themselves have data raptors involved, and then they can do multiple things. So it could execute like 3 data raptors, then a call to another system, and then another data raptor to like load data into Salesforce. So it allows you to do multiple things together. You can think of it kind of as the equivalent of like a record triggered flow, except it's not necessarily record triggered. It could be triggered as part of an OmniScript or other things. Okay.
There's one comment by Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon, he says, he says by using data raptors, you can perform only one action at a time, like extract posts, but you are not able to access data from a third-party website. Maybe I'll comment on that, Georgie. Yoji.
Yeah, it sounds like that's basically the answer to data raptors versus integration procedures. So yeah, that's a different way of putting it. Good.
Oh, okay, Ken. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Thanks everyone for the questions. You may come in after that if there's more questions. After the demo. Okay. Do send in your questions. Okay, back to you, Yoji.
Yes. Okay. So I'll try and stick to our original time. What I did yesterday is I built a very simple OmniScript. I built a very simple flex card, and then I put them onto the service console here. So I think I'll show you how the OmniScript and flex card work from like a user perspective first, and then depending on how much time we have, we'll build either the full OmniScript or at least build some pieces of it so you can see how it works from like a admin or developer point of view as well. So what we have here is, this is the sales or service console. Here I have an account record. And then over here, I have 2 tabs. There's one for OmniScript and one for FlexCard. And then here is the LWC for an OmniScript itself. And maybe let me go to the Lightning app builder so I can show you how this is working. Okay, so if I click in here, we can see that this is the component that's generated for the OmniScript, and this is actually a custom LWC, so I can drag and drop from the left hand side here, which is still loading, onto here. It behaves like any of these other components. This is just generated based on the OmniScript that we've created. And we can see that it's actually pulling information related to this account. So this account is Hilton United States. And we can see here inside of the OmniScript, it actually has that Hilton United States and the record ID being shown here. So like in a real use case, we wouldn't show the record ID, but just to illustrate that point. So if I go back to here, this is from like a user perspective, how it would work, for a user in the store or in the call center. And this OmniScript is a simple one to be able to raise a case. So in a real scenario, maybe we would want to walk the support agent through a series of steps, like based on the type of issue they're having, then we have them ask the customer a series of questions. And then finally, if we're not able to find a resolution, then they create a case. For the sake of simplicity, we'll just directly create a case here. So here we're able to create a subject. So I'll put something like my printer is broken. It is not printing color anymore. So here I put a subject and a description. We notice that there are a few read-only fields. One contains the account ID, one contains the account. When I click next, what will happen is there's a data raptor behind the scenes that's creating a case. And here we're showing the case ID of that created case. And then I have a button here called Take Me There that will then redirect us to that case record. So here now I see a case. The subject here is my printer is broken, which I just typed in. The account is Hilton US, and then we have that description. It's not printing color anymore. So this is kind of a trivial example, but in a real use case, you would probably have more steps, more things happening behind the scenes. But here, we walked the user through a series of 2 steps, and then we ended up creating a record in Salesforce. So let me go back here and I'll walk you through the flex card. So flex card is a way of declaratively building a UI. So the alternative to this is that we, fire up Visual Studio Code and write a custom LWC. Here we can drag and drop to create this. So again, this is a trivial example. This is showing all of the assets related to this customer. Here, what I'm doing is via an integration procedure, I'm calling 2 APIs. One of them is fetching a random joke. And then the other one is fetching the current weather in Singapore. And then the last piece of that integration procedure is we're calling a data raptor to fetch all of the, account information. To fetch all of the asset information, and for each asset, we're getting a image related to that asset. We're getting a link to the asset based on the name, and then we're getting some asset code here as well. So, this is declaratively showing information from 2 different systems based on 2 APIs and Salesforce based on the asset records. So let's jump into the OmniScript designer and build out a simple OmniScript. And I see a question from Prakash, can we deploy OmniScript on external website as well? So these OmniScripts, you can natively put them on a Experience Cloud or what was formerly Community natively. You just drag and drop it exactly like I showed on that Lightning App Builder. If this is a non-Salesforce external website, you can deploy it via what's called OmniOut. I won't talk about that in more detail at this session, but I'm doing a session this weekend for Apex Hours. I'll shoot a link into the chat so you guys can join that if you're interested. It's going to be a lot more technical than what we're doing here. But yeah, short answer, yes, you can deploy it to an external site. Okay, so here's the OmniScript admin UI. So this is what your admins or developers would use. Here on the behind this modal, we can see the different OmniScripts that are available. I just created a new one. For the new ones, you can choose what is the name, the type and subtype that help you organize them, and then the language. These do support multi-language, so you can have different languages, or you can just choose a single language. For simplicity, we'll do English. And then there was an older version of OmniScripts that was Angular based. Nowadays we use LWC, so we have LWC enabled. So let me click save. That will then launch us into the actual OmniScript designer. Okay, so here is the designer itself. On the left-hand side, we see a list of all of the components that are available. So right now we just have one step in there. In here, I can see the step itself, and then we'll start drag and dropping different components into here. And then on the right-hand side, I see the properties tab where we have setup information and we can get the different components. So what we'll do first is let's create a series of 3 steps. The first step will be to select an account. The next step will be to enter the case information. And the last step will be that confirmation message. And then we'll finally redirect the user to the case that was created. So we're basically like recreating that OmniScript that I was just showing you. So inside of the build tab, here are all of the components available that can be used inside of this OmniScript. If we go into the groups, so they're organized by these different groupings. If we go into the groups tab, we'll see a lot of different components here. I won't have time to go into all of these, but I'll just explain the ones that I'm using as I'm using them. So first, we want a series of 3 steps: selecting the account, entering the case information, the case confirmation. So let's drag 2 more steps onto here so that we have 3 steps. Okay, so there we go. So now I have a series of 3 steps. There's really no logic in here. So let's make this a bit more user-friendly. So you can see that up here it says step 1. We probably want this to say something useful for the user. So we'll say select an account instead, so the user understands, okay, what am I doing here? Our next step was to enter some case information. So we'll call this enter case details. And our 3rd step will be success, because this is, the case was successfully created, and then we'll do a redirect. So let's build this step by step. Let me actually preview this and show how it looks right now. So when I'm previewing this, what's happening behind the scenes is it's creating an LWC based on what I just configured in the OmniScript. And then we can see I can click through next and go through the whole thing. There's nothing really in here, so let's add some more details. So if I go back to the build, what I'll do is under inputs, under groups, I'll do a type ahead. So a type ahead is, like if you're searching in here and I type in Hilton, it will show results as I'm searching, and then I can type in something else, it will adjust the results like that. We're going to build that same thing inside of an OmniScript to select an account. And to be able to do that, we'll need to create a data raptor, because this type ahead will actually be searching for account records. So I'm going to jump out of my OmniScript and go and create a data raptor first, and then we'll put it into that type ahead. So I'll go up here to the app launcher, go to OmniStudio data raptors. We'll create a new data raptor. So here in this UI, we choose the name of the data raptor. I'll call it demo extract account by name. We choose what type it is. So we have extract and turbo extract. This is for pulling data out of Salesforce. We have load. This is for like inserting or updating data in Salesforce. And then we have transform, which is for transforming the data. In this case, we want to pull accounts out of Salesforce, so we'll use extract. We'll leave everything else as default and hit save. So then here is the UI for configuring the data raptor. The first step is we need to choose what are we extracting. In this case, we want to extract the account records. So I'll choose account here. We choose an extract output path. This is where it should extract those records to. We need to choose a filter. So in our filter, we'll want a name. So what we'll go for here is inside of this type ahead, the user will type in the account name, and then it will show them the account. So something very similar to what we see up here in the global search. So I'll say where the name is like, and then name. And this name here is the field name. And then this name here will be a variable that we pass into this OmniScript, or sorry, into this data raptor. Then in the output, we need to choose the different things that we want to output. So we'll output the account ID, and we'll output it to the same. And then the account name. same. And then our output will look something like this. So it will output something called, if you're familiar with JSON, this is JSON. If not, I think you'll get the hang of what this is. And then for each account, we'll pull the name and the record ID. And then to actually test it, we do this. So we go to the preview. This is where we can preview or test that OmniScript. I'll put in name for the key. So this name is matching this variable here. And then for the name, I will choose Hilton. So that should give us something similar to what we see in the global search up here. And I'll execute it. So there we go. We have a account as the top level node, and then a bunch of accounts here where we have the name of each account and then its ID. And if we wanted to extract more information, maybe we want to fetch the, I don't know, create a date, for example. I could add another mapping in here, preview it, and there we go. Now we're fetching the created date, name, and ID. This gives you a lot of other options. You can add formulas where, I don't know, we could convert this date to a different time zone. We can extract data across multiple objects, so we could pull like the account plus the contact plus the orders, something like that. But for now, this is enough to help us with to do the type ahead. So now we have this type ahead. We need to tie it to that data raptor. How do we do that? Okay, so the key is I need to go to build. I go here into actions, and then we can see all of the actions, and we see that there is a data raptor extract action. This is the one we want here. I'll add it inside of this type ahead. I need to pick the data raptor name. This is what I just configured, so it's that demo extract account by name. And then if you remember in the data raptor, I needed to pass a key called name and a value that will be what the user is entering here. So for the key, I'll put it as name here. For this, I'll put it as account type ahead. And I need to update this to be account type ahead. And I need to update this to be the name. So this is what it would show. This is the field from the data raptor that it would show. So let me preview that and let's see if it's working. Okay, so moment of truth here. So here is my type ahead. Actually, let me rename it or relabel it so it's a bit more clear. We'll call this account name. Preview it. So we can see the nice thing is it's very visual. You know, what I'm seeing in the designer is pretty similar to what I'm seeing when I'm actually previewing it. And then this is what, you know, the user would see from their perspective as well. So if I type in Hilton, it's not working. Let's see what I did wrong there. No, this looks right. Let's try it again. So So it's actually invoking the data after returning some data. I just misconfigured something. What is it?
Yoji, is it the
Ah,
lookup?
I know.
Is it the lookup section? There was an output that you need to.
No, I have an extra node here. So
Oh, okay.
I need to remove all this account stuff. There we go. Okay, so now we have the created date, name, ID, and preview this once more. There we go. All right, so we type in Hilton, and now we can see all of the Hilton-related accounts getting pulled here. And then we choose one. We'll choose our Hilton United States. And on the right-hand side, we'll notice this data JSON. And as I'm clicking through things, we'll see that this is getting updated. So let me refresh that, and I'll show you one more time. Okay, so right now you notice that it has 8 lines here of stuff. If I type in Hilton, we now see that there are 11 lines, and we can see one of them has Hilton on it. And then if I actually select something, we'll see that it's pulling that additional information. So we have that created date. This is coming from that data raptor ultimately. We have the name, this Hilton US, and then the record ID, which is this guy. Okay. So what we would want is then, based on the account that we selected here, we would want to be able to raise a case against that account and have the account carry over to the second step. So let's build that together. Okay, so in here we'll add a couple things. Here we want some inputs. So we'll have 4 text inputs. We'll have this be the account ID. We'll have this be the account name. You can see as I'm modifying things on the right-hand side, we can see the designer here is getting updated as well. This be the subject. We'll have this be the, actually here we'll add a text area, not a text field, so that we can have some more text in there. So this will be the description. Okay. All right, so the other piece of it here is that we, let me preview this and show you how this looks so far. So I'll type in Hilton, United States. Okay, now we want it to, populate the account ID, account name, and then the user should enter the subject and description, but we're seeing the account ID and account name aren't getting populated yet. Maybe in the interest of time, let me just pull up the OmniScript I already configured, and we can see how that looks. Okay, so this is the OmniScript I already configured. You'll notice that it has a few more components inside of it. So in step 2, what we have here is that I set the account ID to be read only, and then I set the account name to be read only as well, and then I'm setting a default value. So this default value is pulling from that data JSON that I was showing. This default value is pulling from that data JSON I was showing, and then this is how it's pre-populating those fields. So if I go to the preview here, I'll put in Hilton. And we can see it's pre-populating the account ID and the account name, and that's ultimately coming from this Hilton United States and the ID. And then to actually create the case, we have a different data raptor that's called create case. It's basically taking the 4 different fields that we have here and then creating a case. So let me show you what that data raptor looks like. So this is a data raptor load. This is how we can insert or update data. Here we select a object. We have the case object. Here I add the different fields that I want. So we have the account ID, the account ID, the description, and the subject. And it's saying that this mapping from the input goes into these different fields. So the case account ID goes into the account ID, case description goes to the description, and so on. And then in the preview, I can test it out by passing in a JSON here, and then we'll see that it creates a record. So if I hit execute here, we can see it creates 1 record, and then I can click on this to actually open that resulting record. And there we go, that is our case. So the OmniScript is invoking that same data raptor. It's just grabbing the data out of these fields that the user entered. And then I'll show you the step 3 here as well. Here what I'm doing is I'm fetching the case record ID based on what's returned by the data raptor, and I'm using this merge field syntax to fetch that case number. So let me show you in the preview again how that looks. So I'll do Hilton US, test 1, test 2. And we can see that the case record ID is coming through here, and that's ultimately coming from this component here in the data JSON, which is coming from that data raptor. And then the last piece of this is that take me there button that's redirecting us to that page. So that is this navigate action. So this navigate action is after the step, meaning that after I click on this take me there, it takes me to this action. And that action, what it does is it will redirect you to a record for the object case and for this specific record ID, which is that same merge field syntax that I see here. And then you'll notice that here we have like the previous and next button. Here we have previous and take me there. How am I changing this to take me there? The way we can do that is in the button properties, we can change the labels here. So I can change this to like back instead of previous. I can change this to take me there instead of next, and that sort of thing. So you have a lot of flexibility and manipulating these in a declarative way. Maybe in the interest of time, let me just show you really quickly how the flex card designer looks. I won't be able to like configure that with you, but I'll show you that flex card. Okay, so here's the flex card designer. Maybe let me pull up that record once more so we can see how it looks there. So this is how the flex card looks from a user point of view. We have this text assets here. We have some information coming from an integration, and then this information coming from the asset records in Salesforce. The way that's configured in the flex card is like this. I have this text box, where in the text box, I choose the different pieces that I'm merging. So this joke is coming from one integration. This temperature is coming from different integration, and then at runtime it's replacing that with actual information. So you'll see over here we see the word joke, but over here we actually see some joke. And then over here we see the word temperature, but over here we're seeing 27 degrees Celsius. And then at the bottom, I had the different assets that are coming through. So these assets are another flex card called a child flex card that's repeating once per asset. So this is how it looks from a designer point of view. This is all like drag and drop. So if I deactivate this, I can flip the order of these. So maybe I want to make this one a bit smaller, maybe move it down here, take this image, move it over here. It's all drag and drop like that. Maybe I can take this guy and make it a bit smaller so that we can fit everything in one row. We can do all of that stuff. And then ultimately, the data that is showing in this flex card is based on an integration procedure. So let me show you where that's coming from. So for each flex card, we choose a data source. In this case, the data source is an integration procedure, but we have a lot of different other options here as well. And then this is the specific integration procedure. So I'll open this guy just to show you the designer for integration procedures. Okay, so this is a bit of a different designer. This was based on the older designer that OmniScript used. I think this will get updated in the future, but not 100% sure on that. And let me just explain what's happening here. So we have two integrations that are happening. One integration is to fetch the weather information. This is to grab that temperature. Another information is to grab that random joke. And the final piece here is a data raptor. This data raptor is fetching all of the assets for the account. And then finally, we have a response action that's basically responding back with all of the information coming from these two integrations and from this data raptor. And then all of that is being fed into that flex card that I was showing. So that's what I want to show for the demo. I think it would take a few hours to be able to really explain all of this stuff in detail and show you how to configure all of this stuff from scratch. But hopefully you got a feel for, what are the different components. Basically, to recap, OmniScript was that guided process that we saw. Flex cards was that declarative UI that we saw. Data raptors are how we can talk to Salesforce, and then integration procedures are how we can, invoke data raptors or do integrations to other systems. So that was it for the demo. Let me just wrap up really quickly on enablement resources. So if you're interested in learning more, there's a lot to learn about OmniStudio. It's a cool product and you can learn a lot more about it. It's accessible on Trailhead. I'll share these links in the chat in just a moment. Here is the information on OmniStudio Developer. This is a certificate you can take. Here's the information on OmniStudio Consultant. If you prefer kind of live sessions, you can arrange an instructor-led training. And then the exam content for both of these is covered in the Trailhead modules. You can pass it with just theoretical knowledge, but I really recommend getting into a demo or configuring some things and getting hands-on. Also, we talked about Industry Cloud. There are a few industry-related certifications. There's Industry CPQ Developer, which is available on Salesforce Web Assessor, and the content is on Velocity University. There's also Industries, Order Management, Insurance, other stuff. If you're interested in that, feel free to ping me. I'll send you more details. And then a lot of the documentation is still on the former Velocity Success community for both OmniStudio and like Industry CPQ and so on. If you're a customer or a partner, you can request access here. So that was it for today's session. I hope you got a sense of what is OmniStudio. We saw it live in action. We built a simple OmniScript together. So hope that was interesting for you. If we have any questions, we can do a quick Q&A. Otherwise, just as a reminder, the next piece is for winning those certificates. So stay tuned a few more minutes and you will have some free certificates.
Yeah.
But before we do that, any questions?
Yeah. I have one, Yoji.
Yeah,
Basically, you know the step 1 and step 2 and step 3. Is there like
yeah.
a branching that I can like skip and I say, 1 I jump to 3 and 2 I jump to 4? Is there a branching rule I can actually set in the steps, or they have to follow the steps exactly?
No, there actually is a branching logic. So you'll notice when I was demoing it here, we have this account name type ahead. And then when I was showing it on here, it just jumps directly into that
Okay,
second step.
okay,
So what's actually happening is you can do a condition on each step.
and
So in
turn
this
in.
case, yeah, my
Oh,
condition is
okay,
saying if this context ID, which is like the record that it's exposed on, if this is empty, show it. If it's not empty, hide it. So it's like conditionally skipping the step based on that condition.
okay,
And then you can do that for all of these things. You can put
sure.
a condition on a data after another step, a component inside of a step. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, is there anyone have any questions? If not, I will jump into the quiz. Okay, no one. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Yoji, I'll take over now.
Yeah.
Thanks for the demo. It's really good info for us.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Okay, so yeah, if you see my screen, those who have followed us, is quiz time. So please join us on Slido. This time, and let me activate the quiz. For those, please join with that. Okay, I will start it until I see all the participants. Okay, so join us at slido.com and key in this number 829688. Okay, you will have our top 5 will give you a certificate. I saw DC, I saw Ravi sang in, I saw Pakesh, I saw Anna. Yes, you're all coming in. Gomati, Nistash, Sachin, 7. Any more? Uh, yeah, Shraham, yes, I see you. Shuya, yes. Let me see. Okay, yeah, Shuya, Gautam, Natesh, Ometa. Yeah, 15 of you. Anyone else that's still coming in?
Yeah, yeah. That's movement.
Yeah, we'll wait about a bit more. Anyone have issues coming in?
Yeah, exactly. I am
You can't join, is
checking
it?
it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I saw someone came in as well. Anyone else? Oh, okay, cool. I saw 3 more names came in. Puma, Kamini, and Lisa. Okay. Apit has just joined. 20 of you guys. Okay. Any more? Yeah. Roshini is also just joined. Okay. If not, oh, okay, 2 more person. Yes. Just give me a shout out if when you still are trying to ping us. I have 22 of us
If
here.
it's possible, can you this link on chat? So I think so.
Oh, link on the chat, is it? Okay, let me try to put this on the
Please.
chat. Let me see. I don't know whether this will work, but you can scan the QR code if you need to. Let me just try to ping it on the chat. Hold on. Okay, Yoji has just shared about the Omicron that is doing the Apex Hour this week. So you guys can actually join the session as well when you have time for the Apex Hour. Okay, I put it in the chat already. I have 24 people. Atika and Hasim has just joined in. I have 26 now. Okay. Kamala, yes. 27. Another Pakesh has just joined. Okay, anyone else? If not, I will start it already. Okay, okay, I will start the quiz now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So basically, fastest winners first. Okay, you have 20 seconds to answer each question. So the faster you answer, you will be having more points, like what Kahoot actually does on the screen itself. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. Yes, the correct answer is industrial DX. Okay. So let's look at the leaderboard now. Wow. Okay. Ravi's on top with 7 seconds, Gordon with 9, Pakesh is 3, Anna is 4, and these are, wow, that's fast, that's fast. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Okay, next question. What are flex cards? I think Yoji actually mentioned about what is that. Wow, okay. Come. We have only 20 seconds. Not much time to think. All right, okay, good. We got our results. Let's look at the correct answer. Yes, it's decorative, the way of binding the UI. Let's see whether there's a change in the leaderboard. Okay, there is a slight change. Ravi still on top, and then second, and Colin is third. Okay, let's go on the next question. What are OmniScripts? Well, we have quite a range of answers coming in. Done. 20 seconds up. That was fast. So let's look at the correct answer. Yes, it is a decorative way of a guided process. Let's look at the change in the leaderboard. Oh, yes, there's some change. Ravi still on top. Very fast with your hands. That's good. Gongita is coming in. Okay, next. Raptors. What are data raptors? Wow. Wow, there's a lot of different answers. Okay, let's look at the results. And yes, the correct answer is a declarative ETL2. And let's look at. Oops, sorry, I think I skipped the leaderboard. I'm sorry. Yeah, so let's look at the last question, integration procedures. Sorry, I missed the leaderboard. So sorry. This is our very last question. And then we will look at who is our winner for today. Okay, so the correct answer is tools to executing a business logic screen. And yes, we have our top 5 winners. Okay, Anna came in first. Wow, Anna.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, I'm very impressed. And Gordon came in second. Prakash came in third. Prakash Aron and Rashid Randran Ravi and Natisha.
It's Rashendra.
Sorry? Rashenda.
It's
Sorry, Rashenda.
Rashendra. Yeah.
Sorry, Rashenda and Natista. So the 5 of you, could you all just drop me an email? I'll drop you and then put your placing of your position. This is my email address, ho.@trailblazer. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, and then tell me your position, and I will send you details of how to actually get your vouchers. Okay, so one of the caveat is that you got to create a web access first for those who are first timers account, so that you'll be able to get the certs from Salesforce later. Okay, so there will be some instructions for you. So congratulations to all the 5 winners. Okay, thank you. And we please email me. As I say, first one is Anna, second one is Gordon, third one is Prakash, fourth one is Rashindra, and fourth one is Nashta. Okay, and please send me your position as well. Okay, So
Thank
thank you,
you.
Yogi, for your time, and thank you. I'll finish the quiz, and thank you everybody for participating today. I hope you learn. We hope that we have learned some great stuff and and all the stuff. You're gonna ask, can we get the slides? Georgie, is it okay that you pass me the slides so that I can upload it somewhere?
Yeah, let me double check. It should be okay, but
Okay.
I'll double check and let you know.
All right. So thank you everyone. Thank you all the winners, and thank you for participating for this session. Sorry we overrun about 10 minutes, but I think it's a very fruitful time that we have and really learn a lot from your G itself and all this. Uh, we I will still be here for another maybe 5-10 minutes. If you do have any questions, you can unmute yourself, and then maybe Georgie and I can try to answer them.
Yeah, I can stay on for another few minutes, so if anyone has any questions, please jump in.
Yeah. So just yeah.
I just have a very specific, or I would say generic question. We generally know that like velocity is now known as industries cloud, right?
Mhm.
Uh, the what is the reason of being called as it as an industry cloud? Because does it contain some kind of industry specific solution? This is what I get on the Google site, but I just wanted to know whether this does this mean this contain industry specific omniscripts, like one for communication or energy industries like this, Georgie?
So yeah, let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen here?
Yep.
Okay, so like this is the solution map specifically for communications cloud. So for the communications industry, also known as telco. So like in Singapore, we have, Singtel, M1, StarHub. This is the kind of Salesforce product these companies would use. And then OmniStudio that we talked about today is just one small piece of this. There's also like the industry data model. So like, the data model specific for telcos. There's CPQ for being able to configure orders, a lot of other components. OmniStudio is just one piece of this.
Okay. And the CPQ which is there, it's Salesforce CPQ or it's Velocity specific CPQ?
No, it's a separate CPQ that was formerly known as Velocity CPQ, which is now Industry CPQ. If you're interested in that, I did a Apex Hour session on Industry CPQ. I'll send you a link.
Oh yeah,
So
that would
it's
be, yeah.
it's the session I do like an hour and a half demo on Industry CPQ. I'll show you a link here. Yeah, give that a watch. Maybe it's interesting. And I recently did another session about Salesforce CPQ versus Industry CPQ. Let me share a recording on that. Yeah, so take a look at these recordings if you're interested in this topic of CPQ. Those would be useful.
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely have a look on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Even if it's not OmniStudio related, feel free to ask.
Yeah, he's a Salesforce program architect. That is something that it's there.
I think for the next time we should try and meet at the Salesforce office. I think we can have up to 10 people. We just need to leave before 7 p.m.
Yeah, Yoji, so that's tough because most of the time that we have is after 7. Yeah, I mean locally and me for all the locals, because before that they're actually working as well. So normally the last time we had it in Salesforce office, it started around 7:30. We end about 9. Yeah, and we had dinner like around 7 o'clock. Yeah, but that was the bigger group, about 20 odd people.
Or maybe just do it at someone else's office where we can start later, or somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see whether I can book, but I mean it's quite strict nowadays to get people into the office. You have to do some clearance where they are vaccinated and blah blah blah. So that's also another challenge that is there. Yeah, cool. Okay. So is there any more questions for anyone? If not, I think we do a wrap up. Sorry, Nada?
No.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right.
And
Thanks, guys.
just I
Yeah.
want to share one thing, Georgie. In
Yep.
November 21st, I think 21, you shared your picture on LinkedIn with technical architect.
Yeah.
You standing in balcony and captured the photo and shared with us. I
Yeah.
download it and put on my desktop and create my aim in future.
Awesome. I'm glad that I can be an inspiration for you.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
Wow.
thank
That's
you
good.
very
That's good.
much.
Get certified,
You
Nada. Get
Yeah.
certified.
you,
Follow the
you don't know
training.
how much that boosts my ego.
Yeah, it boosts his
I'm
ego, man.
happy to hear that.
Great, sir. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Okay.
you. Take care,
Yeah,
everyone.
awesome. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Have a good day.
Yep. Cheers. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you guys.